welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Coming up on today's show, Texans received some heartbreaking injury news going into their Christmas Day game up against the Baltimore Ravens. I'll break down all the injury news you need to know and what that means for this team moving forward. And let's get into maybe the harshest news of the day. Tank Dell flew back to Houston, was in Kansas City overnight after the game, flew back into Houston to get more testing done, and it turns out that testing revealed it is not only a dislocated knee, but also a torn ACL with other damage to the surrounding ligaments. He could be out all of next season as well. He's already been ruled out for the rest of this year, and just doing a little, Google Doctor looking up on my end, the recovery for this injury could be anywhere from 9 to 15 months. So could be a situation where Tank Dell is able to come back towards the end of next season, or unfortunately, it looks like he could also miss the entirety of next season. Regardless of what happens, I want Tank to know we got your back, and I want him to feel the love from all Texans fans out there. So if you could, share today's video, tag Tank if you could, and send him your best wishes, because we love you three. We hope you can get back out on the field, but regardless of what happens in your injury rehabilitation, just know the whole city's behind you. You not only are the heart and soul of this team, but also you embody all the best parts of Houston, the grit, the love, the passion that the city has. You show all of that with your play on the field and your actions off the field. So if you could, share this video to X, Facebook, Instagram, send it to your friends, send it in an email, do whatever you have to do. Share today's video and make sure we get some good wishes going to my man, Tank Dell. Number 3, we love you, man. And going towards, Dell's future with the team, he does have 2 years left on his deal, on his rookie contract. The best case scenario, I do still think, is that he returns towards the end of next season and is, kind of a boost to this Texans offense as they hopefully make a playoff run going into next year as well. But we will know this is going to be another long road to recovery for Tank. I mean, we already saw what happened last year. He had a season-ending injury. This offseason, he got shot, and then now this. It's been one thing after another, but one thing I do know about this young man is that he is a fighter. And if anybody can come back from this, if anybody can come back stronger and come back a better player on the field and a better man off the field, I know it's this guy right here, Tank Dell. So hopefully this isn't the last that we've seen of Tank Dell in a Houston Texans uniform. Now, kind of transitioning to stuff on the field. I made a video yesterday, and depending on when you're watching this video today, Deontay Johnson could already be claimed off of waivers. I know he hits waivers today. He'll be cleared around 4 o'clock Eastern time, so the Texans could end up claiming the former Ravens wide receiver. He's my top option right now if the Texans are going to add another receiver in either the waiver wire or free agency. But let me know, with the injury to Tank Dell, knowing what we know now, that he more than likely is going to be out for a significant amount of time going into next season, does wide receiver become a top need for this Texans team this offseason? Let me know down below. Give me a yes, give me a no. Does wide receiver become a top need for this team? If you get hit with the YouTube ad break, perfect timing. Scroll on down and give me your answer. Going on to some more injury news from the Houston Texans today. DeMeco Ryans also in his press conference gave an injury update around Jimmie Ward in that he will miss the remainder of the season as well. This is the second starting safety that the Texans will be without for the rest of the year. Petrie was ruled out for the season just a week ago, and now we just talked about wide receiver being a major concern. Does safety become one of the biggest concerns on this roster with the injury to Petrie and now Ward? We'll break that down and more coming up in just a moment. But First, got to give a shout out to today's sponsor over at Prize Picks. Make your holiday just a little bit more holly and a little bit more jolly with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. During the holiday season, you can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. And during the month of December, Prize Picks is running special deals on what they're calling Picksmas. I celebrate Hanukkah, but I also celebrate Picksmas over on Prize Picks. They're giving away 2 free picks in the month of December and more than $30 million in rewards and prizes. And if you're like, Jeremy, I don't even know where to start. Well, why don't we start with the Texans versus the Ravens on Christmas Day? I'm going with Nico Collins more than 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. I think Nico can find the end zone. And then Mark Andrews, 37.5 receiving yards. Give me the less on that. I think the Texans defense could clamp down on him being one of the top receiving options for the Ravens. You can look at my picks, go against my picks, just do it over on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So what's stopping you from getting started with Prize Picks? Run your game. With the injury to Jimmie Ward, now we turn to possibly maybe one of the best picks the Texans made in the 2024 NFL Draft in safety Kalin Bullock out of USC. He has been an absolute warrior this season. 5 interceptions on the year, 10 pass breakups. He has played phenomenal for this Texans secondary. He will be your starting safety alongside Eric Murray. He has been somebody who stepped in very nicely for this team as well with all the injuries that's been going on. Eric Murray has played pretty well as a starting safety. I'm not going to go on and say like he's been, this amazing phenomenon. He's been a solid starter for this Texans team, has made some mistakes, but has also put some good stuff on film as well. But the real question mark now is this starting nickel position. The Texans, I know they run a base 4-3, but in reality, most of their sets are 2 linebacker sets, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and they run with 5 guys in the secondary, meaning Miles Bryant starting in the nickel means he's one of your starters on the defensive side of the football. And nothing against Miles Bryant. I don't think he's an awful player whatsoever, but him along with the rest of the depth in this Texans secondary does have me really nervous going into the playoffs. Not a lot of confidence that I have in these guys to lock down opposing teams, especially if you are having Miles Bryant starting going up against, other teams' slot guys, other teams' tight ends. I think that could be a big, big mismatch for the Texans going into whatever playoff matchup they have this season. Now, going into the offseason and hell, even going into the playoffs, what's a bigger need? We talked about wide receiver. We talked about the secondary. What say you? What's the bigger need right now? Type WR for wide receiver. Type second if you think it's the secondary. Let me know down in the comment section, what's the bigger need for the Houston Texans? On offense, is it wide receiver? Or do you think it might be the secondary on the defensive side of the football? Lastly, let's go over the last injury update that DeMeco Ryans laid out for us today. Shaq Mason, who he injured his knee up against the Chiefs, had to exit that game. He's now listed as week to week, even though he's already been ruled out of the Ravens game on Christmas Day. The real question is, will he return for week 18, or will he even be ready for the playoffs for the Houston Texans? Now, a couple things factor into this. Obviously, Shaq Mason's health, but also as I watched that Chiefs game yesterday, surprisingly, the interior did very well. I really liked what I saw out of Titus Howard at left guard, and call me crazy, but I thought Kendrick Green held up pretty well at right guard as well. Was he perfect? No, but at the end of the day, I thought against a pretty decent Chiefs defensive line, these guys held up during that game. Obviously, there was the mis-ID'd blitz at the very end that led to the C.J. Stroud sack, But overall, throughout the game, I thought they were a okay unit throughout this, game up against the Chiefs. And honestly, I think the Texans looked a little bit better with Kendrick Green at guard than Shaq Mason. He has had a very, very tumultuous season. It's been up and down for Mason. And it's a good possibility if the Texans go on and start Green, if Shaq Mason isn't able to recover from his injuries, we could have seen the last of Mason in a Houston Texans uniform. Because I know the Texans want to revamp this offensive line going into the offseason. Maybe they start right now by continuing to start Kendrick Green at right guard, continuing to start Titus Howard at left guard, and Blake Fisher inserted as your right tackle. I'll keep you updated with everything you need to know around this team. Going into Texans-Ravens Christmas Day, I'll be live for that game as well, a Week 16 matchup, so don't miss out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't miss a single thing. If there's any Texans free agency news, if there's any more injury news concerning the Houston Texans, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and get free videos around the Houston Texans all year long.